All right, well, good afternoon. It is 6-6, solving proportions. What I want you to do again is go ahead and hit pause and copy this information down. So go ahead and do that. All right, it says use cross product to determine if the quantities in each ratio are proportional. Then explain. Well, here's the first ratio that they give you, and that is 2 adults for 10 children. And the 3 adults for 12 children. So again, when you look at this, you will have 2 to 10. That is my first ratio. Again, the order that they give it to you. And then 3 adults for 12 children would be 3 over 12. Cross product, product meaning multiply, you would cross multiply. So 2 times 12, which is what we have here, which is 24, and 10 times 3, which is 30. And no, they are not the same number, therefore it is not equal. And you can write an equal sign with a line going through that diagonally, which means not equal. Okay, your explanation to this is what you have done right here. That is your explanation. Okay, so again, it's setting up the proportion according to what they have given you for the situation, and then you can simply go from there by cross multiplying. Remember, you are not cross reducing. You cannot cross reduce first. Simply multiply the two numbers and diagonally, and you get a number. And it doesn't matter which one you put on which side. Okay, you can put 2 times 12 on the right side and 3 times 10 on the left. It doesn't matter. It's just a comparison whether they're equal or not. So let's look at our first problem. Go ahead and hit pause and solve this. So our first ratio is $5.60 for 5 pair of socks equals $7.12 for 8 pair of socks. So you do this diagonally by cross multiplying. So $5.60 times 8 equals $7.12 times 5. And when you do that, and yes, you can use a calculator, certainly feel free to do that. $5.60 times 8 would equal $44.80. Okay, actually, it's not 80 cents. It is just simply multiplying those two numbers together. So in a sense, it would be really putting a label with it is not necessary in these situations. And then 712. So you take the 712 times 5 and you get 3560. And again, are these the same number? No, they are not. Therefore, you can write a not equal sign in between them, and that is done. So they are not proportional. Now you can use cross product to solve using algebra. Okay, so in this situation, we cross multiply. Okay, and you get 4 times 35. And equals 7 times m. Those are the two opposites or diagonals that you multiply together. 4 times 35 is 140, which equals 7m. Now it's an equation. Now you've got to solve for the variable, which in this case you would divide both sides by the number with the variable to get 1, so that it equals m. And this side, 140 divided by 7, is 20. What I would do is certainly hit pause and copy this down if you're uncertain of how to solve these. So go ahead and hit pause to do that first before we move to the next slide. So for this problem, again, 12 times y is 12y equals 15 times 4, which is going to give me 60. Could you have 12y on this side and 60 on the other side? Absolutely can. It does not matter. So now you end up getting 12 to divide both sides by to get y by itself. And then you say, well, how many 12s are in 60? Well, that would be 5. So my answer to this is 5. Okay. Now many of you looked at this and says, well, I know that 12 divided by 3 equals 4, so I'm going to divide this by 3, and that's going to give me 5. True, that is one way of doing it. However, not all of your problems will be able to be compatible with each other. This number will not always necessarily divide by a whole number to get it, and that's why you have to solve it algebraically. Whether you can divide by this fashion with the proportions, it does not matter. You still have to have this on your homework today, so make certain that you do that. Now what I want you to do is go ahead and hit pause and solve this algebraically. So 8 times x is 8x equals 16 times 7, which equals 112. And then we're going to divide this side by 8 and this side by 8 to get x equals 112 divided by 8, and that gives me 14. You can always plug 14 back up here again or check and say, well, times 2 gives me 16, so times 2 with 7 gives me 14, and that is what we get for an answer. This is what I'm looking for on your homework today. Now go ahead and solve this, and this is again why we have to solve this algebraically. Go ahead and hit pause and solve. So I look at my diagonals. 2 7/10 times n equals 18 times 3, which gives me 54. And now I'm going to have to divide by the number with the variable, which is 2 7/10 to both sides. And I get n equals 20. So 20 is my answer for that. Okay. Again, what you see here is what you need to make certain you have on your homework today as well. Now let's look at this next one. It says Dion spent $28 on 2 DVDs. At this rate, how much would 5 DVDs cost? Solve using a proportion. So go ahead and hit pause and solve this. So my first ratio is $28 for 2 DVDs. That's going to equal, since it says at this rate, that's my rate, 28 for 2. How much would 5 DVDs cost? So DVD is my denominator, so we're going to write that as my denominator. This is my question mark, so I write a variable in there for that. So now it's 2 times x, so 2x equals 28 times 5, which is going to equal 140. And now I'm going to solve by dividing both sides by 2 since it's with the variable. And 140 divided by 2 gives me 70. And since this was dealing with money, because that's what the question is asking, how much will it cost? It is $70 is my answer. Okay. And again, trying to solve this as we did on some other ones, 2 doesn't go into 5 equally. So that's why using cross product to solve these is going to work out to be much easier. And I know a lot of you don't feel that way, but I think the more you utilize this, the more you will see the benefit of solving these algebraically. If you have any questions, again, please make certain you write that down, and we'll certainly answer those questions in class tomorrow. Have a great night, and we will see you tomorrow.